Alright, so let's take a really quick look at string formatting and some of the basics of what exactly that means and how it's done. And then towards the end, I'll actually show you a couple cool tricks that you can do with it that might make the whole thing worthwhile. And string formatting, you have to understand, it's sort of an older idea. In Python, for example, string formatting is the older way of doing it, and now there's different, cleaner, cleaner methods. But in Java, this is still the way that it's done. And it can be a little bit intimidating at first, but once you get the idea, I think you'll learn to love it. So we're just going to jump in, and we've got this program here. And it's a really simple program. You know, you can take a moment, read it over, and you should be able to tell what this does. So it makes a scanner, and it asks the user for a name. They enter the name. It saves it to a variable called name. It asks them for a score, it reads it in, saves it to a variable called score. And after all of that has happened, then it prints the player's name and it prints their score. And this little /n tells us we want a new line between these two. So that's the same as having it written as this. These are equivalent, but that's a whole lot more text, a lot more code. So let's see, Mario, his score was 250. So player Mario, 250. So let's go ahead and take this and put it back the way that it was. And we'll run it again. Sonic, 150. Alright, cool. So you see, that's the exact same. So this \n saved us from the type out all of this again. So, now that we know what this is doing, let's translate it so that we're using string formatting instead of concatenation. And I don't think string formatting is going to be on the AP Computer Science exam, but any course is going to focus on Java and its completeness. It's going to show you everything. Should at least focus on the basics of string formatting, because it comes up all the time. For example, when we were doing the chicken nuggets, or when we were doing, it was the chicken nuggets. Whenever you're dealing with money, you want to be able to format it such that it only has 2 decimal places. String formatting is a really great way of doing that. So it's just system.out.printf. The F stands for formatting. So it's not ln, it's f. And what we'll do is we'll just copy this line and we'll edit it. So the nice thing about string formatting is you can just write the string how you want it. So actually, let's build it from the ground up. So we're going to basically make a template for what the string should look like. So this is going to be the same. It's going to say player. We're going to have a space here. Then after the space, we want to include the name of the player. So we use a %sign that says, hey, I've got something I want to put here, save me a space for it. We know that name is a string, so we're going to put an S in there. Then we're going to hit the space. Actually, in this case, we're going to hit new line, because we want a new line between this and that. Score, because that's what we want. Space. Then we want to enter the score. And we know the score is a number. So %D, D is for digit or for decimal. And that's it. And I'm going to add another new line so that the cursor is here when we're done. So that is the template. It's the player, some string, which is going to be the name, the score, another space for the actual score, the number of points. So what we need to do now is tell Java what goes in these 2 spaces that we told it to leave for us. So in this first space, we want to put the name. So we'll grab it, name. In the second space, we want to put the score. So instead of using all these ugly pluses and opening and closing all of these quotation marks, you can just do all the quotations over here and just put all the variables on this side and put them in the order that the spaces occur. No errors. Let's run it. Tony, 34. You see these two are equivalent in their output. Now this one looks a whole lot scarier, I know. It's got a lot more going on, but once you understand what exactly these mean, this is a lot more powerful. For example, if you wanted to uppercase the player's name, here you would have to do like 2 uppercase or something like that, right? Billy 400. So that's a lot of text. This line's getting pretty long. And we could do that here. And that works. But now this line's just as long as that one. There's actually a shortcut you can do. And it's pretty easy to remember. So this S stands for string, because that's what the name is. But if you uppercase the S, see what happens. All you got to do is make the S uppercase instead of lowercase. It'll capitalize everything in that variable for you. Isn't that cool? So that's a trick you can use. What if you wanted to add some zeros in front of this? Let's say you had like a list of numbers. Let me copy in a lot of code that I have somewhere else. Okay. So all this code does, let's get rid of this, get rid of that. Okay. All this code does is generates 10 random numbers that are between negative 500,000 and 500,000. Simple. Let's see, I don't want it to do any of this anymore. This is just going to slow us down. There we go. Okay. So there we go. Bunch of numbers. That's kind of ugly, isn't it? See how it squiggles in and out? This is in a little bit, that's out a little bit. What if we were to use the formatter instead? So let's say these are numbers, right? Let's prepend a 0 in front. And let's say save space for 7 characters. And put a new line between each one. You see, now they're all flush on this side. And we added a 0, or as many zeros as it would take, so that it filled up the entire thing. And if you didn't like that, then you could just do this, and it'll leave them empty. Personally, I like this better. But for some cases, like maybe our phone number example, you might want to add that 0 in the front to say, pad it with zeros. Now, what if I wanted all the positives to have a plus sign in front of them? See, all the negatives have the minus? What if I wanted the positives to have the plus? Well, you could do a conditional and say, well, if it's negative, print the minus. If it's positive, print the plus. That would work. But why do extra work when Java can do it for you? Just throw a plus sign in here, compile it, run it, and look at that. Isn't that cool? All the numbers got plus signs in front of them. So I don't want to leave it like that though. You can change the amount of padding as well. So let's say you wanted to have 10 instead of just 7. you see how there's more empty space on this side now. What if you wanted it aligned to the left instead of to the right? Throw a minus sign in it, and it'll flip it to the other side, which will make it look more or less like it would normally. So it'll look like that. Now, this is one of the coolest ones, I think. Let's get rid of this. Throw a comma in there. So these numbers are getting pretty big, right? It's kind of hard to see how big they are exactly, like what numbers these are. You have to kind of count the digits and figure out if it's the thousands place, the 10,000s place, whatever. But if you throw a comma in here, it will run it. Java will automatically put the commas where you'd expect them to be. So that's actually really nice. And we can make these numbers a little bit bigger, and we'll see what it does. Yeah, look at all those commas. Isn't that's beautiful. That's much better than it would have looked before. And I think we need to add some more digits to the width. Yeah, that's nice. So if you were using a sensor or something, and it was on your robot or your drone, and it was going around and collecting data. So it was detecting how far away it was from a moving object or a ball or a wall or the ground or whatever. This could be spitting out a bunch of values, a bunch of numbers. And it would be nice if they were all lined up and if you were able to easily and readily tell how big these numbers were. So that's really cool. I like that. And let's see. Let me show you one more trick. Let's make these numbers smaller. So like between 0 and 100. Okay, just to show you that they're between 0 and 100 now. So there we go. Those are our numbers. And you know how we did conversions between decimal and hexadecimal, right? You remember doing that in class? Well, what if I told you that Java could do that for you like that, just in a snap? Take this D, replace it with an X, compile it, run it, and there we go. All the numbers that it generated are in hexadecimal now. But what if you want the uppercase version instead of lowercase? Well, can you guess? You just have to capitalize the X. So there we go. Uppercase F, A. And let's say you wanted to have both this and the normal one. So you could do decimal %D. Oops. And then we'll do hexadecimal %X. Num num. Sounds like it's about to eat something. Num num. And there we go. And you can play with the formatting to make this look better. But you see 18 goes to 12, 35 to 23. So that was really efficient. One line of code. So hopefully you can see the benefits of learning how to do stream formatting. This is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's a bunch of other cool, complicated stuff you can do. I'm by no means a master of stream formatting. But just with these really basic, simple tools, you can have a lot of power over how exactly your data is being printed to the console without having to do a bunch of formatting yourself. You can get Java to do a lot of the grunt work. So let's just look at this one more time. So you've got these little spaces, right? You're telling Java, save me a space, I want to put something here. And then you just keep describing what the string is going to look like. You reach another space, save me a space, I want to put something here. And you're telling it what you want to put there, like what type of thing, and how you want it put there. But you don't actually put the thing in there until the end. There's a couple different versions of these as well. You got your %S, %D, %f, %x, and there's a couple more. And %x really isn't all that common. These are the three big ones. Decimal, digit, string, float, like for floating point number. So let me show you this one real quick. Actually, leave that alone. System dot out dot printf %f. I think this is what we used for dollars. Alright, let's see what that does. And see how that rounded it, or truncated it rather, and gave us something that looked like dollars and cents. So you tell it the precision on the other side of the decimal point. So that's the power of string formatting. And I think we'll leave it there. This video's run on a little longer than I wanted it to, but I got too excited about all the different things you can do with this. And hopefully you found it exciting too, and you're ready to add some of this to your assignments. But I'll see you guys in the next video.